What is up, friends? Let me know if you guys can hear me well. I checked everything, but I've been having weird sound issues with my stuff, and then my internet's been really crappy lately. So let me know if you guys hear me well too. I don't know what's been going on. I have to call the company, but I don't know. But anyway, yeah, nice to see you guys. I am nuclearcaudillo. It's nice to be back streaming. I took a not a break, but I just wanted to really let this one marinate because this is an important topic and there's lots to unpack and talk about when it comes to this stuff, right? So, welcome to another nuke stream. Will be or nuclear live, whatever I call it. I forgot. We're going to be talking today about how relationships now are uh, basically foster homes for women, and this ties into the female incompetency in relationships crisis, right? It is a crisis, right? Because we always want to put everything on the man, but I know we can't hold women accountable, but I just want you guys to see, or at least put the dots together, or even corroborate with what I see, and how there's this kind of like not like this big lie around how women are super independent and they don't need men and all that stuff, but which they don't, but this creates issues, right? And we're going to talk about that. Um, I want to say too, you guys know where to find me. Twitter.com, Galileo Nuclear. Please like and subscribe to the video. Um, as well, you guys can find me on Instagram, Nuclear Galileo, Twitch, Nuclear Galileo. If you guys comment from Twitch, I will read your comment no matter what. So please, guys, if you prefer watching on Twitch or would like to watch on Twitch, just know your comments are going to be pulled up and read, regardless if it's a super chat or not. If you guys would like the super chat, every cent I get is appreciated. It was going to go towards getting better equipment, keeping Tadashi off the pole, and use for to get my time back because this is sometimes a little time consuming and all that stuff. But it's fun and I like doing it. And you guys really are some of the best followers in the red pill space. So I appreciate it, guys. Anyways, so like I was saying, there is a problem with women in relationships that is kind of a hidden problem that I don't see a lot of people talking about. And it's something that I'm like, you guys don't like. It's like one of those things like you guys don't see this, like you guys don't see what I'm seeing. And I just wanted to talk about it, and kind of really show you guys how the modern status quo is getting everyone um kind of getting everyone like putting the wool over men's eyes in terms of expectations in a relationship, because I see this happen all the time, and especially with my friends that that date that have grown up in different countries and then come here, and then they see this what do you call it? They see the difference in women. I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that they notice is that how they just don't know how to take care of themselves. They are adult enough to earn money. They're adult enough to drive in their car, get up in the morning, drive in their car, go to work, come back, and that's it. Everything else, someone else has to take care of it for them, right? So we're gonna talk about that. So basically, it's female incompetency in relationships. And, for a lot of guys, they don't even fathom this. When I say a lot of guys, I mean, guys that are slowly waking up, guys that are starting to, you know, learn about women, and they're getting experience and they start noticing patterns and things. Maybe they read the Rational Male or a couple blogs in the Red Pill, or they're on Twitter and they see this stuff. But there's a lot of things that men start noticing, and they just kind of like ignore it, and they take it as normal, right? But as a guy that's been in the game for like a decade of dating, right? Serious dating, I would say that none of this stuff is normal and it's getting worse, right? And it all starts with the big lie, right? So what's the big lie about relationships, at least from men, right? That because women are now financially independent, um, it also means that they're mature and able to take care of themselves, right? And I'm here to tell you that's a big lie. I'm sure a couple of you guys have dated with several women in your past, and you've noticed like this common trend is that women put on this front or this facade of being really independent. I can do it all by myself. I don't need a man. I just want a man. Yada yada yada. Um, but when you start dating women, you start realizing that they really suck at a lot of things, and they just can't. Like, how did this person get this far? How did they take care of themselves this far? And there's so many things you have to teach women um, in a relationship that should be like a normal adult things, not gendered things, normal adult things, right? Like teach them how to cook and all that stuff, which we'll get into later. But that's the big lie that a lot of guys find out. And I talk, and this even to myself, and I talked to several guys throughout my friends throughout the years, and this hit me in 2021, where yes, they try to accept that a relationship is not the goal, right? But it's deep in their mind, they've always had that like, oh, it would be nice to have a relationship, and it is a goal, but not the ultimate goal, right? It is a goal. So you still have that kind of like you still pedestalize, um, pedestalize relationships. You still pedestalize the goal of getting in with somebody. And then what happens is they get with this person, right? And the person's nice. The person is, nice, respectful, a good gal, and all that stuff. And then you can slowly see, like, this is it. Like, this is what a relationship is. And that feeling hit me in 2021. I had never been in a super solid relationship until the end of 2021. I moved to Dallas in January 2020, 21. I started getting into a relationship around end of July of 2021. And the girl was a good girl. She was very fun. She was cute, and to me she was very pretty. And she was just a fun person to be around. Very energetic, lust for life kind of person. But as the weeks went on, I'm like, this is it. Like, what else? What else? Like, what else is there? You know, a lot of people will say, well, you realize that the relationship is not the goal in life. There's more things you have to like look forward to. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough. That is absolutely true. But no one talks about the component of this where it's like you just inherited a human being who, from since she was 18, has had people do stuff for her. No one has told her no, or very few people are told her no. And her father or her past boyfriends never held her to any standard besides look pretty and have sex with me, right? Anything beyond that was very minimal, right? And that's part of the reason why when guys finally get into a relationship, they're like, this is a relationship, it's because not only have you pedestalized relationships, you also um over overestimated how competent a woman is in a relationship, right? Here's a crazy thing about this, and this is getting a little to the weeds, but like there is a gray area which people say something, but then women take advantage of it. For example, men should lead. Yeah, of course, we are leader. We have to lead the relationship. We have to stay step ahead. We have to deal with the stress and shield her from that stuff. Correct. But women are like, oh, men have to lead. That means I don't have to do anything. You see what I'm saying? They take advantage of men's innate need for responsibility, and they flip it to, hey, this idiot thinks that he has to lead, and that means that he's just gonna do everything for me, right? And you see this in workplaces. You see this, in football teams, basketball teams, where the leader is leading, but he's also the worker too. He's doing both roles, and eventually that leader breaks down and goes crazy. He gets exhausted, burns out, has a mental breakdown. I saw it in the military all the time. My leading petty officer in the military was that type of person where he led, right? And he had to make decisions, but he also, instead of telling people what to do or having help holding up to standard, obviously I didn't I didn't take advantage of this. I try to help him out, like, hey man, like I'll do this for you. You don't have to do this. But a lot of people pushed off the responsibility on the leader because he is willing to do it. And he went crazy. He had several mental breakdowns in the military. I saw him really mad, and he's a good guy, but he just couldn't step out of the doing role and into the leadership role. And that's a common theme in sports and in the military and any other um, hierarchy outside of relationships, right? Where the leader is entrusted to make decisions. And yes, he'll use his experience to do certain things, but he has to entrust his employees, his teammates, his subordinates. Hey, um, you have to do this. You're competent. I expect you to do this or you're fired, right? I can't do everything for you. And it's the same thing with relationships, right? A lot of guys are that leader where they're like, they see a couple Andrew Tate videos, they see a couple this videos, they see a couple that video, alpha masculinity, bullshit coach, whatever. You have to lead. So they think, oh, that means I got to do everything for this girl. And all she has to do is look pretty and have sex with me. That's it, right? And they don't understand that, hey, she's an adult. She has the ability to do things for herself. You don't have to do everything for this woman. You'll burn yourself out as a human being inheriting a child, right? That comes later. Your child is your child, but a woman, an adult isn't your child. It's not your problem. You do not have to teach this person, hey, I am going to teach you how often to do how to cook, or I have to teach you what medicine to take when you're sick or what not to take. These are things that you shouldn't have to teach another grown adult. But now that we have this gray area where like women are dumb and need to be led, and um women are independent, don't need men, we have this weird gray area. What ends up happening is you have these high performing guys like I was in 2021, who have everything. You're like, not even, I'm not type A, right? But I'm like organized. Like my house is clean all the time. I am organized at work. I take care of what needs to take care of. I get lazy sometimes, but I go to the gym when I'm supposed to go to the gym. I show up to my social the what do you call them? Social commit. I show up to my social commitments on time. I have friends that like they'll say, "Hey, I'm gonna go see you. I'm gonna go do this with you," and they show up an hour late, right? Um, but for me, I've always tried to be on time, or be like, "Hey, I'm gonna be late for the social commitment that I agree with you upon," right? So I've always been kind of organized and kind of like not type A, but just like considerate of others and try to keep everything together, right? And it's just, there's so much things right now that you have to teach women in order to be like to be a functioning adult, and not just functioning adult. And then if you want to take it to a step beyond how to be a good functioning adult, that's even harder, right? And it's like you have to apply a different level of game to teach the women, like, hey, don't serve me in a plastic container, don't serve me food if you're gonna serve me food, put it in a plate, you know like that's how that's how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to like, hey, I'm gonna cook for you, and then you hand somebody a plastic container, a hot plastic container, full of food. But and the thing is, as a guy, you're so used to like crappy women, and you're so used to like crappy treatment by your boss, your leading petty officer, your parents, anyone who has an expectation of you. You're used to being crapped on. So when a cute girl hands you a plastic container full of food that she cooked, which is kind of not even that good, and she hands it to you and you're eating it, you're just like, wow, this is king treatment, right? But a lot of guys, that's the best they'll ever do with a girl is the proverbial, here's a plastic container, a small plastic container of food. It's hot, it'll burn you. I'm too incompetent to serve another human being food the right way, but here you go. And then as a guy, you're just like, this is amazing because your standards are low. And you don't even know that your standards are low. You're just like, man, this is a really nice thing for her to do. And it's almost like cute and romantic that a girl's handing you food, right? But guys, like, think about it like this way. Do you want your future mom of your kids handing your 4-year-old toddler a hot plastic thing full of food like, I don't care here? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cute and romantic now, but like in 10 years, will that be the same? Right? And this is where we're at. We're at the point where women are constantly saying they don't need men, that men are lazy, men are this, men are that. Well, what I've seen in the last 10 years is like, holy crap, like the things that I've had to teach women are pretty crazy. Like I am surprised at what I had to teach women. It surprises me every new relationship. There's something new I have to teach them, and something new I have to like. And I'm like, hey, we live in a time where we have literally the Library of Alexandria in our pocket, our cell phone, right? Where you can look up literally anything, any question you have, and it'll be answered within seconds. But women don't know how to fill up a tire, with air. Women don't know that when's the last day for their taxes. It's just this autopilot mode they live in. It's because every single man in her life has always taken care of these things and have had zero expectations, right? So downstream of that, what happens is you get this human being with all these expectations that you put on them, and then they get frustrated because like, oh, he's so, he's then it's like now the container words start coming out. Oh, he's controlling, he's toxic. I'm like, no, he wasn't controlling. He had standards. He wanted something to get done, and he expected you as an adult to do it, right? And he expected you as an adult to take care of yourself, but you didn't. And this is the first time ever where an adult, besides maybe your own boss, which your own boss only requires you to do your job and show up presentable to work sometimes, right? Um, he has expectations for you, and now you're like, you don't know what to do, right? It's a burden, it sucks, it's a relationship, it's controlling. You don't have no word for it. They usually use controlling, but the word is like, I can't meet his standards. And you see this a lot on these red meat shows where they invite girls and they're always trying to explain to themselves why they got left behind. And I could see it. I'm just like, it's because you suck. You sucked as a girlfriend, right? And he dealt with it. He didn't put his foot down. It's like, hey, you're not drinking a bottle of wine a night, or that's not good for your health. Oh, but that's controlling. I'm like, no, like you could potentially, we're having unprotected sex. You could potentially be the mother of my child any day now, right? In a month, and you're destroying your health. Pregnancies really wear women out. Like nutrient wise, they sap their nutrients from their body, right? And you're here being an alcoholic, partying every other weekend, yet you want to have unprotected sex with me, and you see a future with me, yet you don't want to look up my recommendation or follow my recommendation and science recommendations about, hey, maybe you shouldn't drink twice a week and get wasted all the time, right? Maybe you should start thinking, hey, I got to start eating healthier and being healthier because I could become a mom any day now, right? Or I can become a mom soon. And science recommends 2 years beforehand to start really, being getting your body ready for pregnancy, right? So you see, as you guys, this is something that a lot of guys have talked to me about, and I've opened their eyes on, because it's like, hey, like you are designed to take shit from society and do the best and deal with it, right? Like, oh. But a lot of guys don't see that they don't have to take that from women. It's better to be single. And a lot of times I thought, hey, I'm single because this reason. I try to like beat myself up. Um, I tried to beat myself up, so hey, something wrong with me. But then I realized like my personality, right? I was an ex nuclear reactor operator, which takes a little bit of academic prowess. I'm not the smartest, right? I struggled, but it takes a little bit of discipline, self discipline, and humbling yourself and understanding that you're not that smart to get through this pipeline, right? So I went through the pipeline. I learned, hey, humility. I gotta actually give a shit about things for them to work. I don't just come in places and exist and I get things. That's fine. That's like the man's journey, right? But what happens is, as time went on, I've had really bad fights with family, friends, and girl. I don't really fight with women, but I've had, I break up with them. And it's really, as time goes on, I was like, it's because everyone like this incompetency crisis, especially after the pandemic, is that no one just seems to give a shit about taking care of themselves, taking care of others, um, cleaning up after themselves, whether it be their health, their appearance, their house, or anything like that. It sucks because you go to your friend's house, like every time your friends come over, your toilet, I clean my toilet because it's like a courtesy. Like, hey, I don't want them to crap or piss in a toilet that's dirty with my piss and my poop stains, right? I want a clean toilet, just like when I go to work and I want a clean toilet, just like when I go to my parents' house or my friends or my girl's house. I want a clean toilet, right? And I go to these people's houses and their toilets are dirty, like really dirty, right? And you think, oh, as a guy, it's just, it is what it is, but it's like you don't have to accept that. Obviously, there's people that just they suck at cleaning, they forget to clean, right? But for the most part of having standards for yourself as a human being and as a man, especially, is that you treat you put what you are and what you represent have to resonate, have to be shown off to other people, right? Everyone thinks money, muscles, game, frame, but there's other things you could show off, like your fashion, right? If I let's go, I go to um let's go. Let's say I go to the Ocean Man's graduation. He's graduating something. Hold on, let me put that back up there. I go to the Ocean Man's graduation. Hey, Ocean Man, thanks for the invite. I'm showing up to your graduation. And I show up to his college graduation or whatever event, his wedding, whatever, dressed like this. What is he going to think? Wow, Nuke's a freaking, he's a bum, like I had high expectations of him, because he invited me, right? And he's putting all this effort to put on a nice thing for his family, his friends, and all that stuff. And I disrespected him by showing up all like dressed like this, right? And that's what I'm saying, guys. That's the same thing with your relationship with women. You know, a lot of guys are like, yeah, I've been getting a lot of. There's two camps, right? There's guys that get a lot of sex but are tired and want to settle down because they're tired. They're tired again. There's guys that's like the relationship is the only way they get sex, right? So both camps, you know, similar in that they just take shit from women within a relationship, and they don't know that the woman is just incompetent. She's a bad girlfriend. She doesn't know how to be a girlfriend. She doesn't know how to have certain amount of class and put an effort in things besides work and celebrity gossip or whatever women are into these days, right? So that's the big lie, guys. All right, moving on. So what exactly do we have to teach women, right? And I know that, like, oh, this isn't, don't confuse this with holding them accountable. This is assuming the girl is in your frame. This is assuming the girl has genuine desire for you. This is assuming that the girl loves you or starting to fall in love with you, and you have a say in how her behavior should be or what she should learn, right? A girl that you don't know, a girl that's not in your frame, a girl you're just having sex with, and she wants nothing to do with you, you want nothing to do with her besides sex, this does not apply, guys. Just to be clear, these are things that I have taught women, and you might have have to teach women going forward. For women that are in a relationship with you, that like you, that are falling for you, that are showing genuine desire, and they are in your frame, right? So you just wanted to get that distinction out the way, right? Um, so anyway, um, things that you might have to teach women, right? So the first one is the one that everyone talks about, especially on these red meat shows, is um, how to cook. Is cooking hard? Depends on the dish, depends on the culture, depends on the equipment you need, depends on what you prefer to eat. There's so many depends, right? But ultimately, all you need to learn how to cook is the desire to learn how to cook. A lot of women hear this, right? And they're like, I'm not going to serve a man, or I just eat out and all that stuff, right? And to me, that's the attractive part, isn't that you're not doing it for me. The unattractive part is that you're not doing it for yourself, right? And because I don't need a woman to cook for me. I've lived alone for the past 10 years. I have been able to take care of myself. I have a little bit of muscle on me because I know what the hell I'm doing in terms of like cooking, right? And feeding myself. I know, and sometimes you err from the path, but ultimately I know what I'm doing. I've proved to the world that I know how to feed myself and feed myself well. I have proven that, right? So you have to teach them how to cook, right? And a lot of women, they say, "Oh, I know how to cook," but then you eat their food, and the food's not so great. And you say, we say thank you, I love you, thank you, that was so good, right? And food always tastes better when it's made with love, even if it's not that good, or when someone else really that cares about you makes it, right? But in essence, teaching someone how to cook is not, it's silly because there's so much. Again, we have the Library of Alexandria in our pocket, right? I promise you that every woman you know, almost every woman you know, has a Pinterest account, right? And Pinterest accounts have plenty of awesome recipes. Right now, I'm looking up recipes for like holiday cocktails, for baking, for cooking, all this stuff right on Pinterest. I think Pinterest is pretty awesome. And not only that, the recipes, there's so many cool recipes, and sometimes they're just put right there in these little comfortable, decorative little graphic. So you don't even have to like scroll down like 20 times to get to the recipe you need, right? Also, you can go on YouTube and you look up a 2-minute video on how to make salmon, how to make this, how to make that. And what I've noticed, guys, is that every recipe I've been afraid to try has been much easier, right? The other day I made sushi. I learned how to make sushi about a year ago, almost. Actually, February this year, I learned how to make sushi, right? And I thought, holy crap, this is gonna suck. This is, I'm gonna roll it and it's gonna get everywhere. This is, and then I realized, like, no, it actually was not that bad. It wasn't perfect, right? It takes practice, but it was pretty good. I was pretty proud of it. I took a picture of it, posted it on social media. I was very proud, right? And that's like, that's me as a single man wanting to learn and desire. Hey, I wanted to cook different things, and I want to learn how to cook, not to impress women, right? Because women are only impressed, aren't really impressed by that shit, right? But just because I wanted to become a better human being, I wanted to learn how to do something that a lot of people don't. I want to level up. Mel- there's different ways to level up, right? But that was one that I had the desire to. I want to learn how to cook more stuff, so I did that. And then today, right now, I made salmon, and I learned that salmon recipe about a year ago, and it was just some millennial dude, just a quirky millennial dude on YouTube, 5-minute video, and he just laid down the concept. This is how you cook. This is how you did it. This, don't do this, don't do that. And in 5 minutes, I learned how to make salmon, and then I cooked it 3 times, committed it to memory. Everything committed to memory, right? So now I know how to make salmon, right? And salmon is very healthy for you, especially as a weightlifter. So yeah, there you go, guys. So when a woman says I don't know how to cook, what I hear is like, hey, I don't want to learn. That's so there's two red flags when a girl tells you I don't know how to cook, right? And neither of them have to do with wanting them to cook for you, right? The red flag is that she doesn't want to learn anything, especially anything as beneficial and as normal and as adult as learning how to feed yourself. And number two, what is she eating that she doesn't cook? Chick-fil-A, ready-made meals. What is she eating? Like, who the hell doesn't cook, right? And they'll be like, yeah, I cook, and it's just like rice, chicken, like nothing, like what, it's just, it's one of those things where it's just like female incompetency, excuse me. Um, it's just, it gets to you, right? And this is one of the things that, this is like step one, is how to feed yourself, right? Because that's how you live. You need to eat at least once a day. So it's like, okay, well, how do you go about that? And this is one of the vetting. And guys, forget about her cooking for you, right? Watch how she takes care of herself. That's how you vet a woman, is how she goes about taking care of herself. And if she just doesn't cook, or doesn't know how to cook, or refuses to learn how to cook, that is an attitude problem, which could bleed over to other things, right? So moving on. Another thing you have to teach women is how to park, how to parallel park, how to drive, how to maneuver, right? Um, which, you got to cut them some slack, because women aren't spatially aware as we are. Again, men, we were out in the fields, in the jungles. We had to learn. We had to know how with if I throw the spear with this much force, how far would it go? If I jump off from this tree branch, would it hurt? Should it hurt? Should I just climb down instead, and all that stuff? Because men, we're out there in hunting and killing and running away. We have to be spatially aware, but women not so much, because they were back within the walls of the tribe, right? Um, so but again, technology has made parking and driving and maneuvering very easy, right? There are women that are just like, I hate driving downtown, or there's there's plenty of parallel parking in my apartment complex, right, or where I live. And they're like, hey, could you help me park? And I'm like, but you have a rear view camera with the lines. You have a sonar. Most new cars have sonar systems where if a car is getting too close to a corner or another car is coming, you, you know, then they could stop. It beeps. There's like some, and then like the latest technology is that cars park themselves, right? But I don't, that's still haven't seen too many of those cars. But like what I'm saying is like, um, as technology gets better, there's leaps and bounds, and there's stuff that makes being an adult extremely easy. Women still refuse to take advantage of the technology. You know, I don't know how to cook. We're like, well, there's an air fryer. There's rice cookers that have like a little steam tray on top where you can make two things, and all you have to do is press one button, and neither of them will burn. Right? You can make rice and you can make asparagus, baby asparagus, and all you gotta do is cook a little meat, and you have a full nice meal. Right? Insane that women are like, no, I don't know how to cook. It's like, well, there's air fryers. Some air fryers are even controlled by your phone, right? You can set the air fryer and you could, turn it off and on with your phone. And the air fryer will tell you, hey, take tray out and shake food, put back in, and then it'll shut off. The air fryer is already preset with different settings for the food and the amount of food you're putting into that. You just got to press what food, and the food, it isn't even like you're going through a menu. It's literally a button with a little chicken leg if it's chicken, a fish if it's fish, potato if it's fries or something like that. It's really ridiculous, right, that you have to teach women, or you have to tell them, hey, this is how you take care of yourself. You're a 27-year-old girl, right? It's literally insane, right? If you guys really think about it, it's like I've busted my ass my whole life to learn how to take care of myself, both financially, and I've gone above and beyond, right? Because look, if you look behind me, I'm starting to decorate my house with Halloween stuff, right? And that's, to me, that's a sign of a competence, because not only am my house is clean, not only do I have um, an organized house, I have a home bar for guests, I have all these things that make my guests comfortable and myself comfortable. Like, here's a known player secret, right? Have wipes, flushable wipes, especially if they're feminine flushable wipes above your toilet. That way, when you have a girl over, girls usually need to wipe themselves down there because it's a night of drinking, it's sweaty. They want their vagina to be clean before they engage in sex. All these things make you look like a competent person, right? And girls are like, damn, this guy is like, yeah, he got everything in place, like clean house. He had, his bar is nice and organized. And when I went to go clean my pussy, like the he had feminine wipes there just for, just in case, right? And I can't call him out on it because maybe it's for him or his friends. And it's just like a lot of people don't think like that. They're getting by. Like, all I gotta do is work and pay the bills, and that's it. That's a lot of girls. They just have no man has standard for them besides show up and be pretty, right? Um, Another thing you have to teach them is how to stay healthy, and this is the biggest one, right? This ties in with cooking. Um, a lot of women, when you're in a relationship, you start, especially as a fit person, here comes the drag in most relationship where you're just like, you feel like you're just you got a ball and chain, you got someone slowing you down. Um, is you come in with your muscles, with your gym routine, with the way you feed yourself, with everything down pat, your sleep routine. You go out once in a while and drink, but at the end of the day, you know, you still adhere to the basic discipline of, you have lift, eat, sleep, repeat, all that stuff, right? Um, I understand that women aren't naturally drawn to lift heavy weights. I understand that women aren't pushed to self improve in the physical realm. It's all up here for some reason. But the fact that in 2023, with all the information out there in terms of um, in terms of uh, lifting, biomechanics, all the courses, all the grifters, all the accountability programs, all the or the big booty fake female influencers that, all these things that women follow, they still can't look at the mirror and be like, "Hey, I'm getting fat and I need to go work out," or "Hey, I gotta walk. I can't be I've been sitting down on this computer for 10 hours for work. Let me go take a walk," or "Hey, I've been inside for 8, 9 hours. Let me go outside and get some sun." Right? I understand this is a men issue too, because there's a lot of lazy dudes, right? But if you have the audacity to come and start a relationship with me, right? A guy that's clearly fit, a guy that clearly goes to the gym, a guy that clearly, watches his diet a little bit. I'm not obsessive about it. Maybe I might have to start watching my diet a little bit because, my abs are kind of like not popping like they were. So I have to, you know, but you have the audacity to engage in a relationship with a guy like this. And then he has the expectations like, "Hey, I don't need you to be, um, I don't need you to have abs. I don't need you to be a fitness model, right? I need you to give a shit. That's all I need. I need you to give a shit. I need you to try. I need you to do some kind of physical activity. It doesn't have to be lifting weights. It could be just you like to go run, right? It could be you like to do yoga, it could be you like to do a sport, it could be you like to dance, something that gets you moving. Because in 2023, if at this rate you don't understand the implications of you being overweight and what that does to you, me, our future children, then you're not an adult. You are a child still. You don't know how to take care of yourself, right? And I'm tired of like it sucks because you talk to these women and it's they're like 28, 29, and they're still like, "Yeah, I'm trying to go on a I'm like, "You trying to go on a diet? You're 28, you're 29. What are macronutrients?" I don't know." What do you mean you don't know? Um uh what are you doing today? Legs? What machines, what workouts? I don't know, whatever machine. I'm like, "You don't have a program? Do I want to make you one or something?" Like what? Oh, and then there's girls that just this is the funny part. The girls that are just eat more and then their butt gets bigger and then be like, "Yeah, I've been doing squats and my butt's looking big." I'm like, "No, you're just eating a lot of shit food and your butt's look bigger." Right? Like don't, like it's just like this this lack of like whatever you want to call it, it's just lack of being an adult. Let's call it what it is. You're not an adult. You don't have the willpower to open your Google, which you search Google for whoever Bad Bunny is fucking. You search Google for what the red pill just said last year, or what red pill person said this, and whatever. You search Google for how come he doesn't post me on Instagram or whatever. But you never search Google like how do I stay in shape? What is a good program? That's lack of being an adult, right? Uh, Um, I'll get to you guys in chats in a minute. If you guys send a super chat, I'll read it right away. But I'm trying to get past this, and I'll get to the chat in a second. So yeah, there's the gym, like biomechanics, like pick up a weight. Oh, I don't know what to do. Like you have Google. Like I'm not your fitness trainer, right? I will teach you the basics if you excuse me, if you put in honest effort. If you legit look at me and say, "Hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but if you teach me, I will give it an honest effort." I'll be like, happy to help you. Let's go to the gym. We'll go through. We'll for 2 weeks. We'll go in. We'll try some workouts. I'm not super expert, right? But I'm fit. I know what would be good for you, a woman, to help you, right? And we can work through this together. And because I like you as a person, I want to see you succeed, right? But if you give me an attitude, you're just like, I just don't like lifting, or I'm like, listen, you have to do something, right? Because life is too comfortable, You have one body. What am I supposed to do? Just watch you get fat while I work out 4 times a week, 5 times a week, and have standards, and you get to do whatever you want? You're not an adult. You're not. You don't leave me alone. You wanted this relationship. You pursued me, and now you think, but because you exist, that I have to let my standards go. No, that's not how this works, right? I plan to be in shape till the day I die. So get with it or leave me alone, or let's just be casual, right? Simple as that. When then I no longer find you attractive, I will move on to somebody else. And that's how it is. You got to be cold, guys. You got to be callous. You can't take these women in and be their father. You can't be, you are not their foster home, right? You don't have to correct behavior from past men all the time. Obviously, there's going to be a little churn because, yeah, a lot of dudes suck and they don't have the standards and they let the women in their life do whatever they want, right? But at the same time, come on, like, you're an adult. You have to start treating women like adults, because what we're doing is we're giving them all the praise of celebrities, of high achieving people, but none of the, like, hey, you think you're this amazing woman, but you're like 25 pounds overweight. You need to go get in shape, right? It's like, you're an adult. You should know this. This isn't a gendered problem. Like, every person should know how to take care of themselves. Um, so next point is diet. Like, diet is super important, right? It's goes with how to cook. But, like, outside of cooking, um, you can always once in a while have a cheat meal or a cheat day, where you just go, maybe Sundays you like to go to brunch and have a couple drinks and all that stuff, right? But for the most part, um, for the most part, a woman's diet also says a lot about her self-control, right? So if you're if you're noticing that, like, hey, instead of her making her own coffee with just two spoonfuls of sugar, or maybe a quick pump of pumpkin spice or something like that, she's going to Starbucks or whatever coffee shop and getting, like, the unicorn frappe mochaccino super sugar latte unicorn whatever, and it has 600 to 700 calories in it, and she's doing this every day, you know, it's just like, hey, a lot of humans just need to get called out and stuff. They'll stop. Like, hey, you need to stop that, right? But then, you go on Sunday brunch with your girlfriends, and you're having 4 or 5 mimosas, and each of those mimosas are like 150 calories a pop, right? All that sugar and wine and orange juice, and it's not going to be low sugar. It's going to be like whatever the bar has, and then you're having cinnamon rolls, and then for the rest of the day you're just sleeping and watching Netflix. It's just like, okay, there's a problem here, and the problem is that you don't know how to take care of yourself. Again, you cannot you be eating this crappy food and expect me to dedicate the rest of my life to you, to being with you, if you don't know how to take care of yourself. This ends now. Like, you need to stop eating this crappy food, right? Again, guys, women's medicine is honesty. The reason women are so bad, especially when you receive them when they come into your life for a relationship, is because no one has been honest with them. No one has told them, hey, um, you can't do this. You're an adult. You should know this, but you can't do this, right? And there's still more stuff, guys, that I had to go through. But ultimately, you're getting this big problem that society made. Her father didn't tell her, hey, you can't do this. Her mother didn't tell her, you can't do this. Her grandfather, her boyfriends, her university professors, her job. No one told her, hey, you can't do this. And you, as a man who've already perfected all these things or done really well in these areas, now you got to take this human being, and just because she gives you good blowjobs, right? You have to be like, hey, um, you can't have Starbucks every morning. Um, you can't have a cinnamon roll for breakfast every morning, right? You got to have actual food or just skip breakfast. You have to walk. You have to walk at least 10,000 steps a day, right? These things that should have been taught to her as a teenager, as a preteen, as a child. Now you are getting the burden of her father that she didn't get taught, right? And are you willing to do that? And we're gonna ask that question at the end of the show. Are you willing, right? And that's where we're gonna really target the individual's opinion on this. Here's another one that really surprised me in the past couple years: sexual health, right? You guys will be surprised to know that a lot of women, they think their vagina is some kind of super holy, like, center of the universe. It's the most important thing in society, right? They treat it like that. But if you ask them, if you really get to know a lot of women, if you especially when you casually date, you start realizing, like, women really don't know much about their vagina, as much as they think, or much as I thought they did, right? And you can and I have several examples in my personal life. But women really don't understand how certain things work. Maybe they understand like their pH level because they deal with that their whole life, right? Um, but in terms of sexual health, like they don't understand venereal diseases at all. They just kind of like cruise and they have no fear. Some women love to have unprotected sex. Um, they don't care, but they have like to have unprotected sex with several men, right? And guess what happens, guys? You got to tell a woman that's your casual partner, like, hey, I have to use a condom. And they get pissy with you, like, no, I don't want to use a condom. And just like, no, 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 this isn't for you. This is for me because I don't know what you're doing out there, and that's fine. You don't belong to me, right? You're not my problem, right? But here's the problem. Even if you're on birth control, even if there's a pull-out method and all that stuff, if something happens where one of us pops up with a venereal disease, right? You are still going to blame me. You're still going to say, hey, it was you, Nuke. You gave me this. It's your problem. You are a bad human being. And there have been times with me and my friends where even when we use condoms, we still get blamed for venereal diseases, right? And then we get checked and we're just like, no, we're clean. You have been having sex um, with other men. You go deal with that. That's your problem, right? And it's just like, as an adult, as a human adult person, this is so easy to understand, right? That, hey, if you're messing around with different people, you should probably ask them to wear protection, right? Sexual health. This is normal. This is not something that you need to be taught like in a university classroom. This is like a 10-minute discussion in high school sex ed or health class, right? If you're going to throw it around like most women are doing right now, most women that are single right now, you need to ask those men to use protection, right? And or don't discourage them from using protection, right? Like I've had several women in the past, right? And don't get mad when I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna have unprotected sex with you. I know it feels good, but I can't because you are, first off, you're not on birth control, or I don't know if you're on birth control or not. I don't know. I'm not risking having a child with you just for 5, 6, 10 minutes of play. I don't love you. I don't trust you. So and if I loved you and you were my girlfriend, then yes, of course. But for the time being, I don't know you. It's not like that. So here we are, right? So now we have to tell women, hey, and then when women do get a venereal disease, they don't understand the implications of a venereal disease. They have to go to a doctor and explain to them. And I'm like, listen, if you're fucking around, if you're having sex with multiple men, you should probably stay up to date on venereal diseases. You should probably monitor your vagina a little closely. You should probably um consider the risks versus benefits, right? There's lots of pleasure, lots of fun, but understand there's some venereal diseases or some diseases that can happen in your vagina that isn't about viruses or diseases. It's simply you fucked around too much. And one of those is like bacterial vaginosis. So bacterial vaginosis, according to the CDC, is basically it happens to women with lots of sexual partners, right? And I recently had a girl that I like very much, and she's great, but she gave me the call like, "Hey, I got something coming out of my thing," and I'm like, "Okay, well, go to the doctor." I'm not a doctor, right? So go to the doctor. Do you want me to go with you? She's like, "No, I'm fine. I'm already on my way." I'm like, "Okay, if you need anything, let me know," right? Because guys, here's one thing that you will never be able to teach women as emotional control. So that's something you can never teach women. Let that one go, right? But in terms of like rationality, there's got to be a point where you're like, hey, you're an adult. You understand that if you're doing these things with multiple men and something comes out of your vagina, then you should probably know what it is, or at least not be such a surprise to you. You're an adult. It's like I know there's like an accountability thing right here, right? So you go to the doctor and then you tell me, hey, it's BV, bacterial vaginosis, right? And I know what that is. I did the research, right? And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, I asked, yeah, I even asked Twitter, and they're like, oh, it could be anything, right? And then I go to the CDC website, and the only thing it says is it's caused by having multiple sex partners. Women get it from having multiple sex partners, right? So, um, there you go, guys. Sexual health, and then it goes on to their cycle too. There's women that are like, okay, well, let's have unprotected sex, and you tell them, hey, Are you on birth control? No. Okay, so like, are we just gonna have are we just gonna have sex for pleasure and then be scared for the next 2 weeks and just like wait for your period? Like, is that a way to live? I'd rather use a condom every time, right? You're not on birth control. I don't trust you. I'm not in love with you, and I don't see a future with you. Do you see the problem here? Do you see the problem here? You know, it's just like this isn't like an accountability thing. It's like adult. You are an adult. You should know that if a guy finishes inside of you, you could get pregnant, and then every dream you had has to be put aside. Your lifestyle changes because now you are pregnant, and not only that, you are pregnant by a guy that is not in love with you, which just sucks for women. And not only are that, you have to explain to your parents that you're pregnant by a stranger, or a guy that's not in love with you, that may or may not stick around when the baby's born, right? That may or may not be a responsible adult himself, which I am, but like, if it was another guy. But it's just like, how do you not know? How does this not cross your mind? How do you just, how do we get here? You know? But yeah. Sexual health. You gotta explain to them, hey, like it's when's your period? Oh, it's in like about 2 weeks. I'm like, you're the most fertile right now. Even if we did have unprotected sex, like you'd probably be pregnant. You're the most fertile right now. Like, what the heck? I just, sexual health. So and then you have the minor things like a lot of women don't know how to clean themselves down there, like their vagina smells, But I've never been too hard on that one because it could be like any number of things, right? It could be so many things. So it really, um, guys, don't be too hard on women for that because it's there could be so many things. I would say it's also annoying when women don't know how to shave their crotch, and there have been times where I had to tell women like, hey, I don't mind the level of bush you have down there, I'm not a really stickler for that. I don't care. But if this is out of control, right? Like it's getting almost to your belly button. It's kind of gross, right? Like I need you to trim up a little bit. And it's hard to tell women you love or women you're falling in love with that. It's not easy, guys. It's not easy to tell women or someone you love how to be an adult, how to take care of themselves, right? And a lot of women may get offended by this because they're like, oh, well, you're too hard on her. You got to be softer. And I'm like, listen, I'm not soft when I'm in the gym trying to look good for you. I'm not soft when I'm like busting my ass at work so you can have a better future with us, for us. I'm not soft when I'm fucking you hard after a long day's of work and I'm tired, but I'm making sure that you're sexually satisfied. So if we're not in this together, then we have no reason to be together, right? It is not a one-sided thing. Have some standards, guys, in your relationships. Moving on, regulating social media use. This is another one I was surprised where um you'll meet women, a lot of them, yes, they're addicted to social media. That's like the baseline, right? But it's just the type of social media they consume is very like it's just like, why are you watching that, right? And that's why I see all these women on Twitter who are constantly posting about men intersexual dynamics or religion, or like to get in arguments with guys like me online, and I eat it up because I whatever, it's good for my brand. But like these women get up and they're just like, how is that healthy for you, your husband, or your kid? Why isn't someone telling you, at least recommending you, hey, like don't post or don't engage with that because it's just going to make you mad and it's ruining your day. You have a baby, you have a husband, you have responsibilities. Why are you arguing about saving the West on Twitter? Does that make sense? You know, is it really worth the money for you to be just constantly mad and being engaged by guys like me who have like basically no filter online almost? Like, is that what who is letting you do this? Your husband should be like, hey, get off Twitter. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? That shit ain't healthy for you. Nowhere does it say that going on Twitter arguing with people is healthy. Nowhere. There is no one study that's saying that arguing on Twitter is healthy. Yet they do it. So it could be that, or it could be like they're just following like fucked up celebrities. You meet a woman and you don't care about this stuff as a guy. You got your own things to worry about, right? But then she starts bringing up, oh, did you hear that this fucked up celebrity who's actually a huge slut and takes advantage of men did this to this person, and you're just like, babe, like we are walking in the middle of the street. It's beautiful out. We're walking the dogs, and you know, why are you talking to me about this? Tell me a story. Talk to me about your mom. Talk to me about your childhood. You know, talk to me about what the dress that you want to buy today. Talk about things that like are worth talking about. I don't care about some stupid celebrity that doesn't exist to me, right? And that's when you have to have the talk like, hey, I don't want you looking at that stuff. That stuff is not healthy for you, right? And obviously, women are gonna like argue, and some of them will say, hey, like you can't control me, freedom, right? But even me, when my friends, um, I have friends that be like, "Hey, man, stop talking about that red pill shit. Like, relax." I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry." I get caught up and I forget to turn it off. When I'm in real world. But yeah, it's tough, guys. Like, there's a lot of things you have to teach women in a relationship so she can be a competent girlfriend, right? And again, I'll quote Patrice O'Neill here. Patrice O'Neill is like, women are so obsessed with being lovable that they forgot how to be likable, right? Women aren't likable. You have to teach them to be likable. You have to teach them to be with you, because if not, one thing's gonna happen. You'll start resenting her, and then once you resent her, you won't be a good boyfriend or a good husband, and then she'll resent you because you resent her. It just breaks apart. So fast and upfront, send your boundaries up early as they come. That doesn't mean you sit down the first day and put out a 100-point bullet 100-point list of like, hey, these are the things that if you do, I'll leave you. No, as they come, right? Like, if you notice, like, hey, the celebrities she's following or the social media she's consuming is toxic and shitty, then just be like, hey, you shouldn't. I don't want you following that. It's not healthy for you, right? But obviously, you incorporate game, charisma, love, comfort, all those things. That comes with experience when you're dealing with women. You learn how to talk to them, right? But at least at a minimum, call her out on it. Be like, hey, don't, stop following, insert rapper, insert letter, who she's having like that. Those are low class people with a lot of money, right? Those people don't, those people's lives are destined to be like that, full of drama, and they're going to be constantly cloud chasing. It's not healthy for you, right? And you have to go about it. So yeah, pretty much. Um, Anyways, yeah. So regulating social media use, getting following, um, another, and it's not also like what, it's just how long, right? If a woman is like, there's women right now that like are constantly hounding you. Like if they have that genuine desire, they want to talk to you and be around you. They're constantly sharing things, and like at 1 p.m. and 10 p.m. 10 a.m. It's like during work hours that's constantly sending you stuff, right? And at first it's cute. It's like, oh, this is so cute. Oh, she's sending me little TikToks and IG reels about restaurants to try, little memes, things that remind me of you, right? But at some point you have to be like, hey, how much time are you spending on Instagram scrolling? Like that's not, we should work together to try to live in the real world and try to get off our phones as much as we can. And I know it's hard. Like obviously, guys, it's not easy. Like the phone is amazing. Like it's the most powerful thing to ever exist. For an individual is their phone, right? But you have to try. You have to like, hey, I cannot be stuck to my phone all the time, or I can't be at work answering your messages, and I have to focus on work. So you need to focus on something else. And I know women are perpetually bored, but still, you give it a shot. Like maybe 1 hour less a day of social media. Is that doable? Is that okay? Can we do that? But yeah, you guys get the idea. So yeah, what media to consume? Another thing, like, are they watching shows where like it's about drug use and horror and the R word and just like this gory, like stuff? It's just like that's messy with their head, or are they like watching normal stuff that women watch? Like I consider like I had a Vietnamese girl that she was very healthy person. Despite her troubled past, she was very healthy, well put together, and she's a very competent person, right? And the things she watched were just like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Like she liked to watch Korean dramas, right? And then I watched one with her, and I'm like, oh, I can see why she liked this. Is very romantic. It's like it's healthy. I think women like watching that stuff because it's normal, it's healthy. It gives them that little, just like we like watching World War II and sci-fi and gunfights. A lot of people were like, oh, that's but to men, violence is like normal for us. So love and romance is normal to them for them to watch, right? But if they're watching stuff like Billie Eilish music videos and like gore and like what was that show with the high school kids doing all the crazy stuff? What's it called? Euphoria, I think. Stuff like that. I would be like, hey, or politics. If a woman's watching politics, that's another thing. Like, hey, stop watching that stuff. Like, don't watch that crap. It's just gonna make you mad. It's getting nowhere. You know, all that stuff. I'm not saying like make an ultimatum, right? But like encourage, use your charisma, use your game, use a little bit of comfort and be like, hey, I don't, you shouldn't watch that stuff. It's not good for you. But that takes high level games to right. But give it a shot, guys. Try to like because you're if you're gonna be with this person, might as well go all in and might as well like really at the beginning of the relationship, start calling these behaviors out and to see the best you can get, right? See what happens before you fall too in love or you get too tied up with this person, right? Um, and then ultimately, you have to teach women in a very rational way why they can't do certain things when they're with you, right? Like obviously, the most popular one is like girls trips. A lot of them be like, "Well, you're insecure." They use the shaming, guilt language because that's the only thing they have. But let's take out the jealousy part that you'll fuck another dude, right? Can we all agree that everyone's done something really dumb when they're drunk? I know guys in the military that were the kindest, sweetest people, never would hurt a fly, right? But they got a little bit of alcohol in them. Maybe someone drugged their drink, and they became like violent people. They hit people. They yelled at cars. They had to be restrained. They hit people of the opposite gender. Like they turned into the opposite person, right? And I've seen it with my own eyes, and I've seen how like a person that's calm and sweet and kind can turn into a raging, violent, almost criminal, hurting people just because of alcohol. So it's like you're asking me, right? Yeah, and this is how I explain it to them, right? And not my girlfriend, because most of the women I choose automatically don't do this, right? But let's say I'm on a podcast or something, or I'm having a rational discussion with somebody, right? And they're asking me for why, they're asking me directly. This is how I would answer. Not that they care, but like this is how I would answer. You're asking me, right, to be okay with you going 1,000, 2,000 miles away from me, right? Going to a place that's known for drugs, sex, and alcohol. That is like where people go to experience those things, right? With your friends that are single, that have also struggled to be in relationships because they're incompetent girlfriends, right? And to go to this place, let's say you shake your ass all night, let's say you drink and nothing happens, right? What if you get in trouble with the law? You yell at a bouncer, you hit a bouncer, you hit another girl, or something happens, right? Or you get caught up in something. What if you get in trouble with the law, right? What if some guy drugs your drink, and now you wake up somewhere, and you have to go to the hospital now, right? Seen it happen. What if you know um you lose your IDs, your wallets, and all that stuff, right? What if so many things can happen when you're away from people that give a shit about you, right? And you're so vulnerable, right? And you're a woman, you're not as strong as men, you're scared, you're emotional, right? And you're drunk, and all you have is your friends, which are equally drunk and equally unreliable to get you home. And I'm supposed to be cool with that. And if something happens to you, I have to go to your father, to your mother, who I've already met because I love you and I want a future with you. I have to explain to them, yeah, your daughter is in jail, or your daughter's hurt, or your daughter is, or even worse, right? Because I couldn't tell her no. I had to, I said no, foot down, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's how you got to explain it, not to them, to yourself, right? Whenever you think you have to let a girl go do whatever the hell she wants 24/7. What she's saying is, every other man let me do this. Why can't you? And what you have to say is that this is why, right? Only explain this to women that are invested in you. And if they don't take it, then there's nothing because I'm not going to be on the hook. I am not your father. You know, I am not your fairy godmother. You know, I am your man. I am your boyfriend. I am your husband. You will understand at least that I am responsible for you to an extent. If anything happens to you, I share that responsibility. You don't just get to be in a relationship and act like you're single. There is a responsibility. I know no one before you has expected you to do anything but be pretty and have sex with them. But I am expecting you to do more than that. Right? Moving on. Um Another thing I've had to teach women how to pay bills on time, right? Women are like average woman has debt, like lots of debt. They have most of the school debt, right? So a lot of them just put it off. A lot of them put off their debt and they just the interest accrues and they get deeper in debt. And then you find out, oh, I'm just and I had that with a girl that I really liked that I was really falling for, and she was crying on the couch, kind of like, hey, save me because I never was an adult enough to take care of this problem, and now it's your problem, and that's why I'm crying. And there again, it's that gray area where it's like, oh, men gotta lead, or women are dumb. And also, there's the other side. It's like, well, she's an adult. She could have taken care of that stuff herself. She has agency. Which one is it? Are women dumb? Can they not understand that debt has to be paid? You can't just ignore it. Or do they have agency? And I know that you can't hold a woman accountable, but you have to, like, you have to be like, hey, you have to pay your debt. It's not even about accountability. It's like you have to do that. To be with me, you have to be some kind of functional adult. I'm not going to inherit a child. I got too much stuff, you know. I got too much stuff for going on in my life, too much things to worry whether or not you paid your bills on time, whether or not you are going to the gym, and maintaining your health, whether or not you're eating liquid sugar or nutrient dense food, whether or not you know how your vagina works, whether or not you don't follow every single Kardashian and are not watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and you are not asking or telling your girlfriends that I am controlling because I don't let you go party and shake your ass 1,000 miles away from me where you're vulnerable and I can't do anything to help you in case something happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Anyway, yeah. You'd have to teach them how to treat their family members, right? There comes a time in every man's relationship where a woman will start presenting her family problems to you. That's normal, guys. That's normal. No, that's not a red flag, right? Every family has issues, and yours is no exception. Once I trust a girl, I present her with my personal issues too, but not in a like I don't know what to do. And yeah, this is going on. This is just what it is. You know, she will present you family issues, right? And you have a lot of the times I'm just like, hey, why did you talk to your mother like that? Hey, it's no wonder your sister talked to you like that. You did this, and that, right? Oh, your father is just trying to do this because this, right? And they're like, what do you mean? And just like for a gender that pushes therapy so much, they just really can't understand that certain people will react to their actions, right? I know it's hard because sometimes you just automatically put yourself, I'm the victim, they're right, they're wrong, but I've never been to therapy, and I know certain things that women are just like, yeah, I learned this after like a year in therapy. I'm like, you just had to kind of like look outside of yourself. I know that women have innate solipsism, right? But like, if you just can't for once, when you treat people, look at them and realize that they have a reaction, they act a certain way because you treat them that way, or because they have outside pressures, or this or whatever, then you're going to have a lot of trouble in life with your relationships. You better learn that, or else you're going to be constantly alone, angry, frustrated, and people are not going to want to be around you. You're going to be constantly looked at as a person that no one wants to be around with. And do you want that, right? So you have to teach them how to act around their family and friends, And usually it's like it's not that they're wrong. It's just like, hey, understand that this person reacted like this because of this, not so much because of you, but because of this. So please go easy on them, right? And a lot of the times they take it in stride. Um, and that's not to say that um you give them a prescription or tell them what to do, because obviously women prefer to want to be heard, right, instead of like giving them solutions, right? It's not like you're giving a solution, right? But in case she asks, remember, honesty is women's medicine. It's bitter, but honesty is women's medicine, right? And that honesty has to come from the man that they love, not a guy in a podcast, not a guy on Twitter, not their, not some guy that she just met on the first date. It has to come from the man she loves. You are inheriting a human being that has never had any standards for them besides be pretty and have sex with me from other men. Maybe society has certain standard, like feminism expects women to be career women, but also this, right? Blah blah. But on an individual level, she has never had standards besides work and look pretty and have sex. That's it. So yeah. So the other day on Post Zero, we had a couple guys on, and I used the example of Sully and Boo from Monsters Inc. I don't know if you guys know that, if you guys seen Monsters Inc. Right? It's an old movie, but I'm pretty sure everyone's either heard of it or seen it or something, right? So basically, what I said was that Sully and Boo, that dynamic, and if you guys don't know the dynamic, Sully is a big, hulking, hairy monster, right? Who's very competent. He's liked at his job. He's a you know he's a he's a scary guy, because Monsters Inc. The currency is like fear, right? So they use fear to power their little monster factory. So he's good at what he does. He's very respected and all that stuff, right? And in comes this little girl who accidentally wanders into the monster world through the closet, because that's like how the worlds interface. Um, and she basically what ends up happening is that Sully discovers her, and it just turns his world upside down. He has to hide her from everyone in the factory because it's like contraband, or it's like almost like radiation waste, right? To have a human baby inside the monster factory, or the monster power factory, right? So he spends a good portion of the movie protecting her, keeping her out of trouble, making sure she doesn't get hurt by any of the machines or any of the equipment. She's kept away from people that will hurt her or take her away. And he's stressed. He goes from being this like super competent, chill guy who's handling all problems, to having this little girl he has to take care of now, like ruining his day and stressing him out. And then he eventually really gets really attached to her, right? And the movie is about making her taking her home and keeping her safe, right? That's basically the premise of the movie, right? And keeping her away from the antagonist, right? Um, so basically, the that's what the dynamic between a modern relationship between a man and a woman is now, right? You have a guy that's busted his ass. He's someone, he may not know about women, he may not be a player, right? But at his job, he's decent. He's respected in his circle. His family loves him. He's got a pretty chill, very peaceful life. And then in comes this girl who has this like main character syndrome. Is just like frolicking through life, doesn't have a plan, does whatever she wants to party on Friday, get drunk with her girls. And then she comes in, and when she's sad, she takes drugs. She doesn't be like, she isn't like, oh, let me see what's actually making me sad. Oh, I just take drugs. And you know doing all these things, making all these crazy decisions, and just living life kind of like a child, like Boo from Monsters Inc. Right? And then Sully has to be the one to clean up the mess constantly. Like, hey, no, don't do that. Don't jump over there. Stay away from that. Don't do this. Don't talk to that. Stay hidden. You know, these people can hurt you, right? And then slowly, eventually, grows attached to this creature, this human baby, this human toddler, and it makes it his mission to save her because that fills him with joy. Do you see where I'm going with this? That's what happens to a lot of guys. They inherit this incompetent women, this crazy, not crazy, but like this incompetent, childish women who is still, you know, sharing memes on social media about how lazy she is, about how much crap she eats. Like, the millennial memes about like, oh, I like to wake up late and be fat, and I'll never get enough sleep, and I'm tired, and my knees hurt. And it's just like, all those problems can be solved if you were a goddamn adult, right? If you worked out, your body wouldn't hurt so much. If you actually went to sleep at a decent time, you wouldn't be tired all the time. All these things, but the guy is just like, no, I love her, and he convinces himself. And you gotta ask yourself, like, hey, at the end of the day, like, what is she doing for you besides just being there, just hanging in there? And that's a question that every guy has to ask himself. I can't answer it for you, right? There have been times where I've been with women that are just like not really good at cooking and not really good at anything, right? But they just give it an honest effort. They just give it an honest effort. They give it they care, they have good sex with you, they just hang in there, they have that genuine desire. And as long as she has genuine desire, guys, there's a lot what women are willing to do to make you happy, right? There is a lot. You could just feel it. They have this like, what do I need to do to make this guy happy? You'll feel that feeling, right? But at the same time, um, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to have to teach a woman how to the basics of adults, the basics of finance, everything 101, sexual health 101, this 101. Are you willing, right? That's a question that every man has to ask himself. I can't answer that. There are women, guys, like I'm not going to blame you guys. If I ever met one of you guys and I met your girl and she sucked at everything, but she had like triple D tits and a small waist and a big ass, and she had beautiful eyes, then I'd be like, no, like, hey, dude, can't blame you. Like, I feel you, man. Like, I just shake your hand with your eyes. I'm like, oh, it's a tough decision. You have to make a decision. You made one, but like, good luck, brother. I wouldn't be mad at you. I wouldn't say anything. I'd be like, yeah, in life there's trade offs, right? But you know, if you were marrying a girl or with a girl that was a normal girl, pretty, cute, but she made your life harder. She doesn't understand how to be an adult. You basically are a foster care for her. You're doing everything you can. You're undoing all the behaviors that other men have let her do or have taught her to do that are bad. And then I'm just like, yo, bro, like, like she's not your daughter. She's not a baby. She can make her own food. You know, she can learn how to work out. She doesn't need a trainer. She doesn't need you to like every weekend go to the gym with her on a whim, right? Obviously, I think training with your girl could be fun if she was very into it. But for the most part, I'm not your trainer. I am not I am a human being with my own problems, right? If this is gonna work, you need to take care of yourself, right? Um, yeah. Uh, Anyways, so yeah, the Soli Boo example. I'm sure, like once you guys start thinking about it, you guys, like I said, you can't. Once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? Think about relationships, your relationships. Think about relationships with your friend that you've seen your friends have, or even your own family members, your father if you remarry your mother and all that stuff. And you're gonna realize like a lot of the time, like, hey, the guy is like has no standard, like doesn't ask anything of the woman, not even for him, but for herself, like for you, not for me, because I cook for myself, I clean up after myself, and I do everything myself. But like for yourself, like you should know how to cook for you, because if you don't know how to take care of yourself, then I have to take care of you. And why would you want to be a burden to somebody else, right? As an adult, you don't ever want to be a burden to anyone as an adult. Even if you're a girl, you don't want to be a burden, right? Anyone can go to college and sit at a desk and make money for someone else. But few people apparently had done research. I'm like, what is my penis like? What is my penis supposed to do when this happens? As a guy, our penis brings us a lot of happiness, right? So we get pretty autistic about penis health. We're like, oh, I don't have boner. It means I have low testosterone. I gotta go fix it. You know, for girls, they, you know, their vagina is just like it's there. So they're just like, yeah, something's coming out of my vagina. I'm gonna go to the doctor. I don't care. And then the doctor's like, hey, and you know what the crazy thing? A lot of doctors won't give it to them straight, right? So with this bacterial vaginosis situation, I knew the answer. You're just fucking around a lot. We're casual partners, and just know from here on out, we're not having unprotected sex because not only did I think that you were like out there, now you've confirmed it and you threw it in my face, right? So now I'm definitely not having unprotected sex with you. Because you're out there. You're giving it your all, you know. But it's okay. It's you're not mine. It's I'm not shaming you. Just I'm just not going to I have to protect myself, right? But I forgot where I was going there. But anyway, so yeah, it's just this we could talk like it's main character syndrome, right? Main character syndrome basically is like this new thing where people think that they're in their own Gatorade commercial, their own Nike commercial when they're at the gym, and when they're at the airport, they're in their own commercial, their own movie where everyone around them is a side character, and they're the most important thing, and their goals are everyone's goals, and all that stuff. Like you see this at airports where you can be in line trying to fix an issue with your passport to go travel or for your ticket, and some girl comes up in a line of like 20 people who are also may or may not be late for their flight and ask, hey, can I cut you guys? I'm about to miss my flight. And I'm like, are you serious? Like everyone here, you know, like, did you ask every person, you know, like, why is your inability to show up on time to your flight my problem? Right. And again, women in this main character syndrome, right? You see it in celebrities where it's like the woman is like the main thing, and then the man is just off to the side. He's just an accessory, right? The accessory boyfriend, right? The insta boyfriend, right? Don't settle for that. You know, like I want you to be absolutely happy every time I post a picture of us on social media, right? If I go on Facebook, you know, I would never post on Twitter, at least not your face, right? But on social media, like on Facebook, if I post a picture of you, I want you to be happy, like, oh my god, thank you, you look so cute. You know, I don't want me to be like an accessory, like a check. Okay, I got a boyfriend. On to the next thing. On to my next Miami trip. On to my next girls' night out. On to go and do whatever I want. I already got this right, guys. Have some standards. Be hard to keep around. Let her know. You know, use dread. You know, don't let women make you into an accessory, a side piece where you can be like, yeah, I call him when I want. I text him when I want, and he's already, you know, he's already there. He's not going anywhere. I already achieved the boyfriend. Now I can go back to being with my girls or doing my thing at work, right? No, 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 no. You know, make her fear that you'll leave any minute if she's not acting right. I know that doesn't sound right because women will be like, well, you know, that's manipulative. I'm like, no, no, no. Anxiety, at the end of anxiety for women is sexual attraction. And at the end of sexual attraction for women is a relationship, right? And that's it. There's really nothing more to explain there. But yeah, you don't want to deal with main character syndrome, and you don't want to become an accessory boyfriend, a little piece of her life. You want to be the her man. You want to be the most important thing in her life, right? Genuine burning desire, guys. And I will do a show on what genuine burning desire looks like and give stories and examples of that. Um, but yeah, guys. Um, So far, yes, I've rambled a lot. I hope you guys are making my point. I see the chat's very active. I will get to the chat, but I just want to finish all these notes. I took a lot of notes I want to finish. But if you guys would like to drop a super chat, go ahead. I appreciate every cent I get, and it will be read right away. But yes, what was I saying? Okay, so how is this manifested in meme culture, right? You know, you go on Twitter, you go on Facebook, you go on Instagram, and you see these little cute videos of women just like 28, 29, 30, 31, acting like little girls, you know, thinking they're 21, and they're saying certain things, they're doing certain behaviors. And this is how like the big programming happens where women see 4 Instagram reels of something and they're like, oh, like that's okay. I mean, she's just like me, I'm gonna act like this. It's just like, no, no, no. Just because some girl 1,000 miles away from you posts or says something doesn't mean it's okay for you to do it. You have a boyfriend to maintain. Like you can't just be introducing stupid ideas that you make your relationship at risk, put your relationship at risk because you think it's cool or cute, right? But anyway, um, so you'll see posts from women that say, "Oh, whenever I'm with my boyfriend, my brain turns off completely." Right? So it's like, okay, well, maybe they mean it in a way that's like, "Oh, I feel safe and comfortable. Like I don't like my anxiety goes away because I'm with someone that has my back, is paying attention, is scanning the area, and I feel safe." Right? Especially if you're walking at night. Or does it mean that um, having a boyfriend is my excuse to like throw away having to be an adult, right? Now I don't have to worry about discipline because my boyfriend disciplines me. Now I don't have to worry about being good in bed because my boyfriend does all the work in bed. Now I don't have to worry about going to bed because my boyfriend's going to tell me what time to go to bed. Like, what does that mean, right? And that's that again. That's that gray area where it gets like it's funny and cute, and then you realize like, do you really want a girl that can't do these things? Can't like say, hey, it's late, let me go to bed because I work and I had the gym and I have a boyfriend that, I may or may not have to cook or work out with him, or he may have this thing that he wants me to go to, or he may this, and same thing with me, right? I have to go to bed because now work, gym, because I have to stay fit for myself and fit for my girl. And later I'm gonna have to fuck her and have sex with her and make sure she's satisfied because that's the contract, the soft contract in a relationship, right? You need to find somebody that thinks like that because if not, you're gonna be constantly stressed. I see people do this all the time. They get with the girl, and then there's this, and they tell me their problems with the girl, and it's just like, dude, this is a very like childish behavior. It's not adult. It's like an adult should know this. Adult problems are like big conflicts. Like, hey, you know, um, my mom is sick. Can we move her in? Those are big adult problems, but like you not being able to go to sleep on time to be able to like live your life and perform, right? Isn't a childish problem, you know. Me having to explain to you that hey, you flying 1,000 miles away from me to go party in a place where I don't know and you're vulnerable and I can't help you if something bad happens. Me having to explain that to you, that's childish. That's something that you should at least understand. If you do it anyway, you're single, right? Like I'm not gonna like stop you, right? But you should at least understand that like think about it like this. Like if you had a 14-year-old daughter, would you let her fly to New York by herself and go party, knowing there's gonna be strange, weird men around her all the time? No, right? Because you love that person and in your mind, they're not they don't understand the amount of danger they could be possibly in. Same thing with your girlfriend, right? So, okay. So another thing is like men have to lead, blah blah blah. Leadership in a relationship. Like, yeah, of course we're basically according to the Bible, according to biology, according to everything, men have to lead and have to make decisions and have to push the relationship or the family forward, right? But right, when does it become going from leadership to being a parent, right? If I have to tell you, hey, you can't smoke weed every day, it's eating away at your life. Or hey, you can't drink 3 times a week. Let's just drink once a week. Let's go to salsa night and drink, and then we'll sweat off all the alcohol, and then we'll burn off all those calories, and we'll have a good time, right? 3 drinks a week isn't bad for you. Isn't that bad for you? Um, when does it become, you know, hey, you need to go to the gym. You're drinking too much. You're starting to get overweight. I'm not as attracted to you. When does it become that? Right. That's why you got to be careful when girls say men have to lead, because a lot of times it's, hey, men have to lead and do everything for me while I just take the guidance, right? And I'm still an incompetent wife, girlfriend, whatever, right? It's like, yeah, make women do things for you guys. Like give them the feeling that if they don't perform, right, they're out. Like you perform, like I'm performing. Are you performing? This is a performance art. A relationship is a performance art, right? Meaning that if I have accepted somebody in my life, right, that is not your little career and your sweet personality is not enough to keep me happy in a relationship. And if you're not willing to do that for me, then there's no reason. Let's just have sex, or let's just not have anything, right? But if you want the sweet love and affection that I have to offer that you want from me, then you have to perform. Simple as that. You have to perform, right? You have to stay in shape because I'm staying in shape, and I will stay in shape till the day I die. You know, you have to, have to perform sexually because I'm performing sexually. You know, you have to have certain level of cleanliness in your life because I'm not a clean freak, right? But like I do my laundry, I don't wear dirty clothes. I get my clothes washed. I wash the sheets, especially if I wash my sheets every week. I clean up after my dog. I don't let my dog shit everywhere. My dog gets groomed. Obviously, I'm not perfect. For 99% of the women I've met are clean better than I do, guys. They have a really good thing for cleaning. That's one thing that they've always had to teach me. And I always ask, like, hey, what's a good detergent for this? I'm learning how to clean my bathtub. How do I clean it? Right. But at the end of the day, um, you, you know, be careful with the whole leadership thing. It's very manipulative and it's a gray area, right? So whenever girls say, "Oh, men have to lead," it's like lead, yeah, but that doesn't mean you don't get to. You still have to be competent. You don't get to men have to lead your way into being incompetent girlfriend that can't do shit for herself, and I have to take care of, right? Okay, I think I made my point on that one. I just want to stay at home. One of the things, like a lot of women will be like, I just want to be a stay-at-home wife and do nothing, right? And that's the trads love this one. They eat this one up like crazy. So what happens is, traditional conservative women, or women that want to be traditional conservative, or women that just are done with the work life, the rat race, are just like, I just want to be a stay-at-home wife and bake little pies, and the memes. You see it on IG Reels or TikToks all the time, right? And on Twitter. Here's a problem with that, right? Technology has rendered being a homemaker and like staying home much, much easier than in decades past, right? Do you have to sweep all the time? You can get a Roomba. The Roomba will sweep for you constantly, every day, if you want. Do you need somebody? Do you need to deep clean your house? Obviously, you pick up after yourself. You leave a cup out, a plate out. But do you need someone to deep clean your house every other day? No, you can get someone once a week. House cleaners are cheaper than they've ever been, and they're super cheap, surprisingly. You can get someone to clean for you, right? Um, do you need to use archaic cooking technology that'll take all day to cook stuff? No, yeah, there's a pressure cooker. Chili is the time to cook chili or a stew or anything is like cut down by like it's like 5 times shorter now, right? Yeah, there's air fryers. There's so much technology to make cooking and living and homemaking and everything so much easier. If you want to clean your couch, you don't need to like you can order a service, or you can get one of those like steam things. I just bought one, and you just 20 minutes clean your couch. That's it, right? I find that cleaning now seems so much easier, and like being a homemaker, cooking, cleaning, and all that stuff is so much more easy than it used to be. So when women say that, I always get the alarm in my head goes off, like, I'm a lazy woman. I don't want to do anything. I just want to get fat and stay at home. Um, so I'm thinking, like, if you guys really think that when women say that it's because they want to do that for you, no, they want to do it because they're lazy. Women are lazy. They don't want that particular woman is lazy. She doesn't understand that life is a performance art, right? And we always say burden of performance men, right? But as a woman, if you want a relationship and you want a happy relationship, you have to step up to the challenge. And stepping up to the challenge isn't going to your job, working more, coming home, being a bitch because you're stressed from work to your husband, right? And then not being able to cook yourself, just ordering takeout, getting fed, drinking alcohol, doing all these things, right? And you thinking that that's somehow a relationship, and that you think relationships are just a placeholder person. No, relationships are about humans are made to interact with each other. right? And one of the best ways you interact with each other, especially people you care about, is doing nice things for them. Usually because you want them to be happy. It has nothing to do with you, right? So, if I as a man am falling in love with you, but I see that you don't make do things for me because it comes out of your heart more as like a, hey, you don't, you know, you should do these things with me because I'm a man. And I'm like, no, I want you to do it because you want to. How am I gonna feel if you're doing it for my little toddler, our son or our daughter? You know, that you come home from work and you just slam a plastic thing in front of them, like, eat, I'm tired, Like how does that work? So guys, cut like nip these problems in the butt early in a relationship if it really bothers you, because you don't want to be 10 years down the line, like a couple of my friends, my best friend, right, where you have a relationship with a woman who can barely get up off the couch to feed their own family, right? And it should be a pleasure to feed and help people, right? And I know sometimes it's hard and it's tiring and you're tired as a person. That's okay. We're all humans. It's okay. But for the most part, my mother still smiles when I go home and she makes me a meal and she sees how I wolf it down. I'm like, thanks, mom. She still smiles, right? Who why would you want to be with a woman who's making food for you and your son or daughter 10 years from now, 20, 30 years from now, and you're just like, and she's just like, I don't want to cook. You guys figure it out. No, I want a woman that like, you know, doesn't see cooking as a burden. It sees it more as like a necessity of life. Like it, yeah, duh, you have to cook. And I learned how to do it. Why can't you? What are you so special? Right. But anyway, moving on. Another meme is the trads bragging about their husbands doing everything for them, especially when they're pregnant. Like a couple months ago, there was this woman, I forgot, a feminist turned housewife, right, on Twitter, and she was bragging about how when she was pregnant, her husband was doing everything, all the chores, all that stuff, right? And I understand that when a woman's pregnant, she's less mobile. She's very limited physically, right? And that's okay. But let me ask you this, guys: do you think it's healthy for a human being, even when they're physically limited, to do nothing, to just do nothing? Right? To just be like, I'm pregnant, I'm not gonna do shit. You think that's healthy? No. You do what you can. Just like if I was in a wheelchair, I wouldn't just sit and watch someone take care of me. I'd be like, hey, I can pick up this laundry and go to the laundry machine and do the laundry. Like I don't have legs right now, but I can do something because it helps me and my mental health feel useful. And also, you know, I can't at any sign of inconvenience doesn't mean, hey, I don't want to, I'm not gonna do anything, right? Because when I'm alone and I have no one to take care of me, like I like right now, and my arm hurts, or I'm sick, or I have COVID, I still have to get up and go to the shower. I still have to do my laundry. I still have to cook. I do all these things for myself, right? And when you're pregnant, or you're incapacitated, or you're tired, or you're sick, right? Doing nothing and just wallowing in your weakness, regardless of gender, it doesn't help you unless the doctor says you will not move, you will not do anything. You know, having somebody do everything for you is not healthy. You do what you can. You get mobile. You move around, and when it's enough is enough, you sit down, you relax. Like, hey, I'm pregnant, or hey, I'm sick, or hey, I'm this, whatever. Um, you can rest, and then I'll take it from there, right? But I will not accept, hey, I'm pregnant, I ain't doing shit, you're the husband, you do everything. I will not accept that, right? You are pregnant, you are not dead. You are not a stage 4 cancer victim, right? Or patient, right? So it's like, um yeah. And you see it in relationship. Like, go to Walmart, guys. Go to Walmart and look at the nagging wife who's overweight, and the guy's just there existing and getting kind of annoyed and frustrated, right? Go to Walmart, go to any store, right? You'll see these couples who are just worn down, dude. And that's what happened. It's just dude just like happy to be with this girl, and he never set standards in a relationship. He expected all he wanted was for the girl to exist and be pretty and be cute, and that's all he needed from her, or at least he thought. And then the relationship went on. He's just like, man, this food sucks. She doesn't know how to cook. Man, she doesn't know how to do finances. She has some debt she's been ignoring. Like, you get all these problems, you inherit them, and you realize, like, how did it get so bad? And it's because every single guy, including her father, up until that point, has said, do whatever you want, babe. I don't care. You are the main character. Everything you do is okay. We live in your world, not the other way around, and it's okay. And then when you get this problem down the line, you get this woman and you just realize like, holy shit, how the hell did you get along this far in life? It's because there is a man that let it happen. There was a man that let it happen, right? Um, so be careful, guys. Be careful out there. You know, understand that there is this wool being put over your eyes that, like, hey, men ain't shit. Men have to step up. Men aren't making enough money. Blah 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 blah. They're complaining. Articles on podcasts. It'll be the most red pill masculine podcast, and the guys will be like, "Yeah, it's true. Men aren't stepping up." But let me ask you this, guys. My electricity's still on. Who's working at the power plant? Not Stacy. You know, um, my stuff from Amazon's getting here on time. Who makes the majority of the pilots? Men. You know, um, my toilet's flushing. All the stuff in my house is fixed and running. You know, the roads are working. Whenever a tree falls in this neighborhood, someone's there the next day to pick it up, and it isn't women. This complaint that men we're not stepping up and we're not. No, it's not. If society is running better than it ever has, yet women are like, oh, men aren't stepping up. It's like, yeah, they're not stepping up to absolve you of your responsibility to be an adult. That's what they mean, guys. That's exactly what they mean, right? Because first off, the men that they don't like are invisible to them, which is okay. That's biological. There's nothing wrong with that. But number two, right? It's funny because the other day, and this is funny, I saw a video of a woodworker, a guy who was cutting down a tree, you know, uh, and the tree kind of did this thing where it's like it snapped, but it didn't fall to any place. It snapped and then fell, and I forgot what it's called. But it's a certain thing where a tree, it's very dangerous, right? And the guy is just like running for his life away because he doesn't know which way the tree is gonna fall, right? So it's very dangerous. And I joked that table, right? That wood where that almost killed that guy is gonna be made into a table, and that table is going to be on a studio where they're going to run a podcast, and some girl is going to sit at that table saying men aren't stepping up. Isn't that funny, guys? Somebody almost died to make sure that tree got cut down so you could sit at it, put your white claw on it, and complain that men aren't stepping up. Isn't that hilarious, guys? That is literally the most ironic thing if you think about it, right? And then we know this, we talk about this, we super chat these shows, we laugh at them, but in our own relationships, we're just like, no, babe, I don't care that you don't know how to cook. I don't care. I was like, it's not that she cooks for you, my friend. It's that she's not cooking for herself. If someone can't take care of themselves, it will become your problem. This happens male to male too. You can have a friend that doesn't know how to live life, right? And you have to constantly pull them out of situations because they don't know how to take care of themselves. They're constantly like, I don't know what to do. Hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And it happens on different levels, And it sucks because it's so disappointing when you're friends with someone, but then you find out, hey, this person cannot take care of themselves. Like they're a complete liability to me and to themselves. And I have to eventually cut this person off or like hang out with them less because this person cannot take care of themselves. They are a weight on themselves and everyone around them, right? And that's what women are. But since they're cute and pretty and we have sex with them, somehow we absolve them of this. Um, so you don't want to hold women accountable, obviously. But if she's in love with you and invested with you, or at least has that genuine desire, you can give her honesty. She's invested in you, right? And this is the thing. This is the other ironic thing. Guys will super chat shows trying to hold women accountable, trying to crap all over women that don't agree with their lifestyle or their views. But when it comes to their own relationships, they can't hold women accountable. The woman that loves you in genuine desire, that's waiting for you to be like, hey, don't do that. I don't like you. You're just like, oh, you're so scared for her to leave that you're just like, no, I'm not gonna tell her anything. I'm just, I'm just happy she's here, mentally. Isn't that crazy? That makes zero sense. And I posted about that the other day. It's like, hey, I hope that with the amount of energy you put into holding these fake women that you have in your head accountable that don't exist, don't care about you, will never have sex with you. Um, I hope that you take that energy in your next relationship with your wife or whatever, and you hold her accountable. But she actually loves you, and she actually needs it from you. So there you go, guys. Um, but yeah. Whew. All right. So let's read some of these chats. Let's see what we got here. We got Babe, wake up, Nukestream. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. We got Kyle in the chat. Um, yeah, guys, smash the like button. You guys know what it is. We got Baron in the chat. We got Baron or the Ocean Man in the chat. Sushi, yeah. I mean, it's not that impressive, guys. You just have to have the mat for rolling sushi and the nori, and the sticky rice is pretty simple. You just gotta buy the rice vinegar and you just make rice like normal. It's nothing crazy. It just takes a little bit prep of chopping and cutting and making the rice. But once you have everything in place, it's a pretty it's not it's it's not it's not like you're making anything crazy. Yeah, Jim Marine, good morning, chat. Yeah, you must be somewhere else because it is 9 p.m. here, my friend. We got marriage causes divorce in the chat. Um, oh, hold on, did I get it away? You're getting based. They're getting by based on cash ups from Simps. Yeah, there's a lot of like I said, society is making these women into a problem, and then you have to come and then you have to accept this problem in your life, and you got to make a decision. Like, are these behaviors really bothering me that much? Right? There are guys that really do not care that a woman is dressed a certain way. They just don't care. Like, hey, you dress like a hoe. I like that shit. Like, I like you dressing like a hoe, right? And they don't care. But what that woman may one day get to meet you, and now you have to deal with a girl that's just like, well, my last boyfriend let me dress like I don't see the problem. You see what I'm saying? You see what happens? Like it's not anyone's fault because the last guy was like, yeah, I don't mind that. Like I like that she's dressed like a hoe because I want a hoe as a girlfriend. I guess like it is what it is. It's just a strange thing. It's like there's nowhere to point a finger, but ultimately you can say no. I don't want to deal with this, right? I cannot deal with a woman that dresses like a hoe, even though your boyfriend was like totally cool with it. I'm not cool with it. So your choice is to leave and take your ball and go home, or just deal with it. That's all you got. They don't need to improve. They have 30 simps in the friend zone providing boyfriend energy. Yeah, that is true. Marriage causes divorce. 25 overweight, thick. Love your curse. Yeah. Well, the good thing is like there's some women that it goes to the right places, maybe to the booty, the boobs, thighs, but like most women, it just doesn't go, to where it would be nice to go. But men are scared to hold women accountable. They don't want to be accused of being toxic. Yes. Forget about every single woman in the world, but your own wife, the girl that's genuinely interested in you and loves you, you should establish that is the only woman on earth you can establish boundaries with, right? And knowing this, you have to establish boundaries with that person, not with any other woman. No condom equals 18 year size. If she catches one, she won't tell. Yeah, you don't even know, guys. You guys could be sleeping with someone that has venereal diseases. You'll never know, right? Godspeed's in the chat. Nuke steals all the hate for himself. What do you mean by that? Um, I would have nothing if I didn't have you. Uh-huh. Um, yeah, I think that's what Sully said to Boo or something like that. Flavor says, I found a physical copy of Bang My Rouge Free that was under 40 bucks. Yeah, I got a copy. It's on my bookcase right now. I have a copy of Bang. We got Guillermo Carceres in the chat. Yep, you don't need to prepare canned food to survive the winter. Yep. Or dry meat and prepare the pantry to survive until next harvest. Yes. What I miss? Oh, so much, my friend. A long rant. Frame and boundary setting early before your wife becomes 600 pounds. Yeah, that's why, like Godspeed says here, um, there's a reason why it's called an early frame announcement, right? You want to call these stuff out early in the relationship, you know, not on the first night after you have sex with her, when she shows investment beyond sex. When she says, your dick is good and all, but I kind of like you and I want to be with you. What do I have to do? Right? That the implication, it's implied, right, in their actions. Who is putting the lines up? Astor. Yeah. Nico C. I was in a super chat, but apparently can't. Did I get demonetized? Nico C is the podcast is about radioactive dating market. Nick should retitle it Fallout or the Fallout podcast or something. Hey, I'll consider it, man. I'll consider it. Did I get demonetized or something? How would I know? Is it did they send you did you send you a notification or something? How would you know if you got maybe it's on YouTube Studio or something. I don't even know if I have that. Let me see. Oh, it's I gotta re-download it. I haven't used it in so long. Screw that. But anyway, I'll check that out, guys. Maybe I got demonetized or something. This channel. Wow, maybe I did. Let me check real quick on YouTube. That's crazy. 1 second, guys. Anyway, how are you guys doing tonight? Uh, you know what? I'll check later. It's so strange. Um. Anyway, guys, it's just money. It's not a big deal. But anyway, yeah. You're going to have to deal with um. What does that mean? I'm currently configuring my website. What does that mean? Oh, like what you're doing tonight? Okay. Um. So basically, guys, you're going to come across a lot of behaviors or a lot of not behaviors. Let's say this lack of adulthood from women in your dating life. You're going to be surprised at how little they know about how to take care of themselves, their physical health, their sexual health, their mental health. All these things they're going to not know what to do, right? Because society is always when I say society, your parents, family, the men in their lives. Let's just say the men in their lives have never told or have never hold them to a higher standard, right? Every boyfriend she's had has been like, whatever. I'm just glad you exist and I'm getting sex, right? No man has ever said, hey, you ain't doing that or you're not with me, right? And Barry, and when it does happen, it's too late. It's a late frame announcement, and there's nothing you can do, right? A lot of the stuff I talk about today, it's playing off the married red pill. So if you guys really are in long term relationships or getting into one, that's a really good source of like knowing what to do, what to expect, right? Like I said, early frame announcement, very important. Understand that women have been made into incompetent people, just like gold diggers are made, and an incompetent girlfriend is made. No man has ever asked her for more than, just show up and be cute, and maybe fry me an egg or something once in a while, right? It's always been nothing has been expected of them, right? So um, at the end of the day, you're the one that has to make the decision. There's some things that I personally cannot handle, right? A girl that's not that sexually good in bed, totally fine, right? Totally fine. I can I can deal with that. I can we can work around that, right? You know, and it's a skill. You learn it just like anyone else. You teach her what you like. That's okay. But a girl that you know, that can't take care of her diet, like I cannot, you know, because then it becomes my problem because now I have to convince you every other day we can't eat out, we can't do this, we have to go to the gym, we have to walk, we have to be active. You know, we're fighting extreme comfort of 2023. You know, I can't deal with it. That is a deal breaker for me, right? Every man is different. You make the decision, trust yourself the best you can to make the right decision, and realize that, like, hey guys, it's the dating market is like this. There's a bunch of guys who have no expectations of women. They're just glad to be getting laid, and they're the biggest enemies of love and relationships because um, nothing is more fun and exciting for a girl than to meet a guy that she has to perform for, that she has to be better for, right? She loves that. It's like crack to them, you know. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll figure out the super chat issue in a sec. But other than that, guys, I appreciate your support, and I have nothing much else to say. So it's been a long show. Thanks for your patience, and I'll see you guys on Thursday at 7:30. We're gonna talk about holiday dating strategies. Now things have changed. We're going to talk about holiday dating strategies and how things change in the dating market. So, all right, bye, guys.
When you're lonely, am I